Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. If you are going to build a Lego time machine into a car, why not do it with some style? It's the highly detailed custom DeLorean Time Machine version 2.0 from the builder Sawyer. Over 4.5 years ago, this designer built the iconic DMC-12 from Back to the Future in Lego bricks, complete with gull-wing doors and a flux capacitor. Now the model has been supercharged. With greater details and proportions, 100% new body rebuild from the ground up, plus the model now has a built-in wheel folding feature for flight mode. This means you don't have to pop the wheels on and off to change the look. It can be constructed to fit all the different appearances you got from the films, plus the version 2.0 comes with a display stand. I will be showing you all of the solid features and how they work on this build, but first let me just say that if you wanted to put this creation together for yourself, the instructions can be found at brickvault.toys. With each purchase comes that PDF step-by-step building guide and a parts list for fast ordering all of your pieces online. The models are physically tested in real life. We test the instructions for an easier build experience, and the parts are chosen for availability on the brick buying market. If you buy instructions from us, it's a great way to help support the channel and the talented designers we work with, like Sawyer, who has also made a ton of cars like the 1966 Batmobile, the Speed Racer Mach 5, a Ford GT Mark II, and some classic American muscle cars. There's a link in the description below if you want to get started, and now let me start off by saying that this is so cool to get to see how creations evolve over the years. The designer built the exact same car at the exact same scale, but somehow did nothing the same in the process. Not only are the externals completely different, maybe those exhaust vents in the back are pretty similar, but at the same time, none of the internals are similar as well. And I really mean that. The roof of the car was lowered by 1.5 plates on the 2.0 version. That might not seem like a big detail, but it was only made possible because the designer used a big old panel piece as the concaved floor so the figs could just fit in a little lower. And along with that, there's a subtle low angle for the front hood and then the double jointed wheel folding feature. And that means the entire frame is basically a series of Lego black magic connections that follow not a lot of familiar techniques or rules, and somehow magically has no illegal building techniques present as well. Okay, let's start at the front and move to the back. The hood is sleek. It's got no interruptions here for any staggered pieces. It's one solid flat angle. And then when you get to the headlights and front grille, they are actually slightly more compacted and a little bit cleaner looking. This area of any car is kind of considered the face. It's usually one of the more recognizable features, and it's just a solid, clean little look here. Once you get to the midsection, you got the A-pillars. They're a bit thinner this time around, and the angle is different. It's a bit wider at the top around the roof. That's a more accurate look. Plus, the doors and the body have a small black side stripe, and there are a ton of wire details that go from around the front bumper area all the way to the back wheel. Once we get towards the rear, this model has the flux bands that wrap around the body. That's basically the tiles and slopes in white. There are a ton of mechanical / sci-fi greebly details in the main bit in the back. And then there's this circular area here, which is the reactor. Right now you've got Mr. Fusion, but this can be changed to the plutonium one. All in all, it's got a very complete set of time machine looking details now, cleaner angles and lines. And then the main thing that I got really excited about, it's got an excellent wheel folding feature that just could not have been done quite the same way a couple of years ago. And that's because it uses this relatively new rounded brick that has the open center with bars that cut through the middle. And that not only allows you to fold the wheels both out and then down, there are 2 axes here, but it's also just the right shape so when you manipulate the wheels, all you need to do is pinch them into place, and their natural stopping point is either the perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal. You are not tweaking or finessing this feature. It is robust and easy to transform, plus it looks pretty great in both configurations. In all honesty, my only stability note here is that when you fold the front wheels, you can possibly knock that little hot dog piece out of place. But that's basically the only get to know your custom build note I have here, and it is a casual model to handle. Now at the same time, for features, we've got the gull-wing doors. This area is now constructed with all system bricks. It keeps the look a bit more uniform now, and it's also worth pointing out that the hinge has plenty of friction here, so it keeps its position when fully opened or anywhere in between if you like. But if you want full access to the interior, you just pull off the roof. It's got a natural break point, and now you've got space to see the flux capacitor and add or remove figs from the inside. You got plenty of space here. The figs just fall into place, which is very convenient when they're in the correct sitting position. And then before I show you the different build configurations, don't let me forget the display stand. It's a low, wide, all black build that has one of the cleanest slot-in features I've encountered for a stand. The areas that hold the model in place are these bracket and slope combo bits that stick up, and the DeLorean can fall right into place here. And when it's resting, it is locked. And I mean it won't budge a millimeter forward or back. In a very real way, this car fits into the stand better than a lot of builds that fit in with studded connections. Okay, so for most of this video, you have seen the car in the part 2 details when it goes to the future. But you can switch out the details to make it fit with any of the films. So you can switch out the license plate and the back, and Mr. Fusion can go back to Mr. Fission, that's not what it's called for part 1. There's also this clip here in the rear if you wanted to rig it like it looks right at the end of the first movie as well, so it catches the lightning. And then on the flip side, you can actually make this car look like part 3, which is a bit more involved. You put the orange license plate and Mr. Fusion back on, then you switch out the wheels plus some hood greebles, and you're now ready to go head to head with the Apache Charge and the Cavalry, or maybe a Bear or something. It's got really solid details through and through. And remember, if you are interested in building this, the final download does actually come with a parts list for any single configuration or a master parts list that makes it so you can order everything and switch between all 3 versions. There's also a README that outlines some of the rarer pieces that you may want to include or avoid depending on your preference. And this was just a blast to put together. It really encapsulates, I think, all the positive aspects of a redesign with very minimal fragility added to the creation. We get across the board improvements for overall look and features. Remember, if you enjoy our content, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share. Let me know what other types of builds you would like to see in the future. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.